Okay. Let's go to the beach, everyone. Let's go to the beach. Let's go to the beach and hang out and have a chill time where nothing bad happens and no one abstracts or something. Whatever the fuck is going on with, like, they go to the cane. I've seen the trailer, obviously, so I know they're going to the cane zone. And we get door drama and that strange NPC, but until then, undramatic beach episode. That's what I've been promised. That's what I'm gonna get. And we'll just enjoy it until then. Boy, what the fuck's happening in the digital circus right now? I didn't rewatch the whole series before this. Jax is having a good time. Everyone else is having an even better time. Kane is normal and stable. And yeah, I think things are fine. I think things are broadly fine. I don't think there are any deep sort of existential identity crises or psychological breakdowns on the horizon. It doesn't seem like that kind of a show. So let's see what happens.
Is the adventure over already?
No, the adventure hasn't even started yet.
Oh, well, don't be a narc. Find your own hiding spot.
It's not that. It's just that we haven't even seen Kane at all today.
That's fine.
Yes, Gangle was looking for you. Hi, Zooble.
So, hang on here. I do like Zooble taking advantage of their ability to to hide in small spaces just by disassembling themselves. Also, one thing about Pomni, I don't know if we have access to it, but I would love to see a side-by-side comparison of her character model from episode to episode. Because, like, her eyes have gotten a hell of a lot bigger, but a bunch of stuff, I think, has also changed about her physical geometry. And I don't mean, like, huge things, just, like, little optimizations and improvements and changes and alterations in her anatomy and stature, which is, like, not at all exclusive to her, but it's just noticeable. I like the...
Oh, well, don't be a narc.
Interesting that Zooble seems to have psychic control over their limbs also, right? Like, their limbs don't need to be attached in order for them to use them.
Oh, well, don't be a narc. Find your own hiding.
I like the dangling.
Oh, well, don't be a narc.
Because, like, the dangling, as you can see, like, there's no ball bearing here. There's no ball joint. They're just letting this, like, other piece dangle straight from the plastic as though it's attached to a ball joint, but
Find
it's...
your own hiding spot.
It's not that. It's just that we haven't even seen Kane at all today. Plus, Gangle was looking for you. Hi, Zooble.
Gangle's
Wait.
smiling.
What's this?
Hello, my little rubber baby buggy bumpers! Today, I've decided to go to the store to get essential ingredients for my signature milk and cigarette casserole. I hope you can handle yourselves until I get back.
Yeah, okay. Going to the store for milk and cigarettes, huh? We're just playing the whole absent father thing straight, are we? Also, is it just me or is the lighting different again? I don't know. Again, I'd have to watch all the episodes, like, back to back to fully parse it, but it does feel like there's elements to, like, reflections and that change. Or maybe it's just color grading. Like, maybe it really is just a difference in color grading. He drew a cool bee. I do like that he has the letterhead of the CNA company, Cain and Abel. I like the timing on, like, all of them notices him at the same time, but it's expressed a little bit differently for each of them. Lovely squash and stretch on Zubal's eyes. They're watching tennis.
Well, this was fun while it lasted.
So, what's the adventure today?
Oh, I don't have an adventure for you today, so you can do whatever you feel like.
All right, sounds fine to me.
You should ask me for suggestions on what to do instead.
No.
What should
Oh, that's lovely. Look at that.
All right, sounds fine to me.
You should ask me for suggestions. Serve me for suggestions. Serve me for suggestions. Serve me for suggestions. Serve me for suggestions. You should. You should. You should.
Him and me. Him and me.
You should ask me for suggestions on suggestions on what to do in this.
Sorry, I can't help myself. I cannot help myself. The thing I wanted to talk about, the thing that delights me quite a bit about this, is the use of the static pose, right? Like, and the introduction of it, because you can see him begin to enter frame here, right? And the interesting thing, he's holding the pose here, right? As we're entering it here, which is a good way to sort of set up the gag that he's slowly sort of sliding across. And we get this easing into like this slow stop in the air. It's very effective. I do like the eyelashes that just spawn on the side of his eyeball as well. That I've had eyelashes stuck in my eyes. That must be uncomfortable, Kane. Anything for beauty.
Suggestions on what to do. For suggestions on what to do.
There's really interesting, like, the size difference between Kane's eyes, right? Like the fungibility, the changeability of that. The blue eye being much bigger here because we're creating, essentially creating the illusion of a three-dimensionality to his head. We're keeping the eye that's supposed to be further away from the camera a little bit smaller. But that can be reversed, right, at a moment's notice where the green eye gets to be the bigger one. And also the way that he blinks is... He blinks like a lizard. Like, he has a second set of eyelids that's just, like... Where the eyelids basically sort of... They fold in on themselves. His eyes fold in on themselves to blink. That is distressing in a very fun way. Also, really interesting. Zubal's body is always a difficult thing, right? First of all, because it's so changeable, but also, like, what's the physicality of that when Zubal is, like, engaging and acting in the environment? We've talked about this before, like, the concept of when characters are in a scene, if you want to avoid having the scene just be a sort of pointless background that doesn't matter, you have them interact with objects in the background in order to ground the scene and make the scene feel real. This is a good example of that, because... You don't have to show Zubal getting out of the box. You can just show Zubal's body already walking forward. But we get this lovely little dismount where you can see the way that it lands on that, like, slightly less stable leg. And, like, catches its weight. In, like, a really Like, there's a lot of weight and physicality to it. Like, it has that sense of biological, physical weight like a human body. It's very much animated in that style. It's not animated as solid pieces of plastic, right? It's not animated as like a solid, unbending material. It's animated with that, like, you can see the squash and stretch. The torso, the upper part of the torso being, like, separate and malleable from the lower part of the torso. It's really nice.
You should ask me for suggestions on what to do instead.
No.
What should we do instead?
No, Gangle.
Wait, sorry.
Great question, Gangle. Holding at angle, holding at gangle, holding at gangle, holding at gangle, holding at angle, holding at angle, angle, for an answer snander, for an answer snander, an answer snander, an answer snander, holding at this.
I really like that. I like that move. Again, Kane so often in his animation plays with proximity to camera, right? And like morphs and changes his body size into the camera, like cheating to the camera for the purpose of the expression. This is a really good example of that, because you get that sense of him pushing his head far forward, right? And they even do the same thing. You can see the hat swoops off his head and hops off a little bit into the background, but is still positioned over his head in a way that, like, clarifies the relation to it. It's very fun. Like, it's just fun the way that they really play with cartoony freedom on Kane in a way that they really don't as much on the other characters. Very much, like, again, the visual similarities with the genie from Aladdin, I think, are probably not I think they're probably not accidental.
Great question, Gangle. For an answer, let me consult the Chinese room.
Okay, so the Chinese room. The Chinese room is a concept that it's a philosophical concept about the nature of language, right? And it's a concept that's often brought up in terms of like trying to determine whether or not a machine system exhibits consciousness, right? And this is where I need to fucking Google it and make sure I'm not conflating it too much with a Turing test. But the idea is you take a person, you put them in a room, and you give them a book, right, full of phrases, and you tell them, okay, whenever someone passes a message into this room, look up the phrase in the book and then pass back the appropriate phrase, right? And all of the phrases in the book are written in a language that the person doesn't understand, right? They don't understand the thing that's coming in, they don't understand what's in the book, and they don't understand what they're passing back. But because there's a perfect lookup table in this book, they can pass back the correct response every single time, even though they have no comprehension of what it is that's in the book. Usually, this is expressed as a person who doesn't know Chinese is given Chinese messages, looks up the references in a book that's full of Chinese messages, matches the message they have to the message in the book, they write out the message in the book and pass that back as the answer, right? And the question there is, even though the system is perfectly responding in Chinese to Chinese queries, even though it is responding to Chinese language with Chinese language output, and even though it is giving correct answers, even though it's giving answers that demonstrate awareness of context, awareness of a theory of mind of the other person, even though it displays all of these qualities, that doesn't mean that the person in the room understands Chinese. They just have a perfect lookup table with responses that will satisfy any interlocutor, right? And it's related to the Turing test because it's one of the tests that's sometimes proposed for determining whether or not you can call a computer system conscious, right? And so, given that the tension with Kane, and certainly my read on the character, is that the most important thing about Kane is the question of whether or not he is a person. is Kane a person? Or is he just a system? Receiving inputs and generating outputs that look like language, that look like personhood, that look like personality to anyone who interacts with him, but he himself internally is a Chinese room. He's just a machine responding to inputs with outputs without a theory of mind, without a consciousness to guide it, right? That's the big question I have about Kane, is to what extent is he a person? But it's also the question of, like, to what extent are any of them people, right? To what extent are anyone in the circus people? Because, like, again, my theory with the circus is I don't think they're all sitting there with the headsets on their heads out in the real world anymore. Like, I don't think their bodies are waiting for them if they go through the exit. I severely doubt that. I don't think these are the original people. I think these are consciousness copies. Like, that's my theory about it. And then there's that question, right? If you apply the Chinese room experiment to a person, can you tell if a person has consciousness? If a person is a human being? So, like, bringing up the Chinese room is an interesting thing. Where are you going to go with this, though, Kane?
Okay, had a bit prepared.
Okay, we're just literally doing it. We're just literally doing it. We're just literally past.
Okay.
Which I thought maybe it was going to be a thing where they go in there and there's a joke where someone speaks Chinese or what. No. We're just going to take the fucking pieces of paper and pass them into the Chinese room. Okay. We're just straight up doing the experiment.
Why Chinese? Does this actually mean anything?
It's a mystery what's behind that door, but I believe it's a fluent Chinese speaker who will give me advice.
Can I just ask why? Like, what even is...
Shut! You're only making the joke take longer. It's a mystery what's behind.
I'm not just YouTube pooping, by the way. I'm trying to look at his animation. Like, when I do this, it's partly because it amuses me to YouTube poop, but it's also because I'm looking at his animation.
Mystery what's behind that door.
He winks here.
Mystery what's behind that door.
He winks. Do you see that? That, like, it's a mystery what's behind that door. Wink. There's a little wink in his animation there. I really quite like that.
Mystery what's behind that door, but I believe it's a fluent Chinese speaker who will give me advice.
Can I just ask why? Like, what even is...
You're only making the joke take longer. Hurrying all longer, hurrying all longer, hurrying all longer, hurrying all... Yes, take long, yes, take long, yes, questioning the joke, questioning...
Okay, now I'm just YouTube pooping. Once again, having a lot of fun with Kane's anatomy and playing with the camera, right? Like, playing with that heavy foreshortening.
You're only making the joke take... Shut! You're...
I wonder in the recording process if they had Roshan actually say, Roshan, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, if they had him actually say shut up and they deliberately cut it.
Ask why? Like, what even is...
Like, it sounds like they had him say shut up and then they deliberately cut the line to give it that sudden cutoff.
You're only making the joke take longer.
What does it say?
I don't know. I don't understand Chinese.
Hilarious.
I don't know. Why don't you guys hang out at the Digital Lake? These locations have just kind of been there this whole time. Not sure why you never visit them.
You should throw a freaking beach party.
Good boy.
Oh.
Anyway, I had to do it. Very much channeling, like, I know that Roshan got the job in part because of some fan dubs he did of Spamton, I think, from Deltarune, and he kind of pulls off exactly the same laugh in one of those fan animations. I think it's the one where Chris is in the shop. I've seen a fantastic 3D animation of his fan dubs, where they really play into like a sort of slight stop motion puppet aesthetic with him, which I think is very, very good. And again, the reason why this works is that juxtaposition, the very, very sudden, total opening of the mouth, and then we get, like, laughter jiggling from him. But then that the entire rest of him is so weirdly static, right? On the one hand, he's laughing. On the other hand, the laughter is not actually present in his body, right? Because the fact of the matter is, when you actually laugh, when it really comes from inside, you go, ha! It's your whole, like, it's like a shout or a explosion. It's this wave of motion that moves up through your body. That's not happening here. They are deliberately making his laughter very unnatural, in that, yeah, he's wiggling and he's like kicking his little legs, but there's absolutely no motion in his chest. You see that? Laughter is in the chest. Like, laughter is in the chest. It's your lungs expanding and contracting. It's like, it's a big convulsive motion, especially of the torso. None of that here, right? We're keeping that completely out of him, so the laughter only exists in, like, this unnatural jiggling of the limbs. It's a very good way to make it uncanny. And that's part of the joke, right? Is that Kane's laughter is deeply ungenuine. Which, again, is that thing of, like, is Kane actually laughing because he finds something funny? Or is that just a pre-programmed response to a specific stimulus?
What does it say?
I don't know. I don't understand Chinese.
Is there some hidden in-joke in these characters that people have already sussed out on the internet?
I don't know.
Motion blur, my old enemy. I really want to... Look at all the fucking squash and stretch. Look at all the model breaking. Look at how much they're fucking deforming him. I wish I could see it! Oh, I should change the... Hang on. Let me just... Sequence settings. Oh, it's set to 60 frames a second. Well, let's not have it set to that. That's better. Because the video file is in 30 frames per second, my sequence in Premiere Pro was set to 60, which meant that whenever I was trying to frame by frame my way through it, I had to press double to advance the frames. Speaking of, look at the difference in laughter here. Kinger's about to laugh. How does he laugh? Well, you see that? Chest expands, there's a ripple motion up, and the laughter's pushed out of him. That's a real laugh, right? So there's definitely an awareness. It's a specific choice with Kane to make him laugh that way.
Hilarious.
I don't know. Why don't you guys hang out at the Digital Lake? The Digital Lake. Yeah, Digital Lake. Yeah, Digital Lake. Yeah, Little 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 Lake.
Yeah, Little Lake.
Yeah, Little Lake. Yeah, Little Lake.
Yeah, Little Lake. Yeah, Little Lake.
Yeah, Digital Lake. Yeah,
again,
You guys hang out at the digital lake. Digital lake.
the fucking tongue.
Yeah, digital lake. Yeah, digital.
The fact that he licks the underside of his eyeballs to do the L phoneme, it never stops freaking me out a little bit. Can you imagine that, having to lick your own eyeball just to say L?
Locations have just kind of been there this whole time. Not sure why you never visit them.
You should throw a freaking beach party.
Is Bubble struggling to say fuck because he's not allowed to anymore? Or is he just being polite for once? Neurodivergence when they're overstimulated at the party.
Freaking beach party.
Good.
The inflation of Kane is... Don't clip that out of context. The inflation on Kane is handled really well here, too, by the way. Because the thing we have to do for this... Don't clip that out of context! The thing that you have to do here to get this thing is, like, his hand has to inflate, right? Like, it has to get bigger. And that transition from normal-size hand on his hip into this giant fucking oven mitt has to be handled in a way that makes sense. You can see they have to change the anatomy and, like, the size of the arm as well. And if you don't do that right, if you don't, like, handle that transition and that inflation of size in a way that's, like, acceptable, it can look off and weird, even though it's, like, physically impossible what's happening. If you don't handle that transition smoothly, it would look weirder than that. It wouldn't look as natural as it does.
Good. Good look. Good look. Good look. Good bob. Bob. Look.
Let me see those flash. Are those impact frames generated in the software? Maybe they are. They do seem to have occlusion with Kane's hand, so they might be generated in software. They look quite nice. Yeah, it's hard to determine whether these are hand animated. They could be.
Oh, that could be fun.
Plus, there are some fun and...
Wait, what did you just say, Kane?
Plus, there are some...
That could be fun.
Plus, there are some... Plus, there are some... Plus, there are some... There are some...
Okay, so weirdly, maybe I just sort of primed myself for that.
Fun.
Plus, there are some...
But the way he said plus, that almost sounded to me like he was speaking backwards for a second.
Could be fun.
Plus, there are some fun NPCs out there that none of you have even interacted with yet.
I'm guessing they're...
Zooble has also changed a lot in the way they're put together. Like, the way that their eyes and head are handled, I feel like there's a big change in their proportions as well. I feel like... man, I don't have the other episodes downloaded. If I did, I'd go back and check. But there is definitely... I guess you could call it an element of Flanderization in terms of character design. Like, the way that, like... This is something that happens, you'll see this if you, like, any webcomic that you read, right? Like, when someone starts their webcomic, the character designs look one way. Skip forward 100 or 1,000, or, like, a couple of hundred pages or strips or whatever, the character designs will settle into a form that is more natural and comfortable for the artist's hand to draw, right? That's basically what happens is when you draw the same character over and over and over again, your hand finds grooves, habits, rhythms that it's comfortable with, and then the character is shaped by those. And that's where style tends to emerge from. A little interesting to see that happening with 3D animation, though. Like that, because in 3D animation, you have the models, right? And so to change them over time means constantly, like, updating them and changing their rigging and changing, like, the morphology and building new...
Interacted with yet.
Oh, man, I gotta talk to the fucking Digital Circus animator at some point. I gotta get an interview with one of these people. talking like a fucking journalist trying to expose corruption in the White House. I have to talk to some of these people. But I do want to try and get a hold of some side-by-side comparisons of the characters.
I'm guessing they're not intelligent ones.
They most certainly are not. Now go have fun.
Speaking of other locations, there's an amusement park over there.
Wow, what a good day! Wow!
Alright, so who wants to try Kane's magical changing booth first?
I guess I'll give it a go.
So we've looked at this before. This is the clip that they were promoting on social media. I wonder if anything's changed. I sort of doubt it. But speaking of morphologies and speaking of, like, characters' bodies changing, Pomni, girl, you look so fucking different. That's not the same body you came in here with.
Booth first.
I guess I'll give it a go.
Wow, you look mediocre!
I appreciate the subtitles. Boink, bonk, bonk, poink, doink. Apparently, the magical changing tent is played by Scout from Team Fortress 2. I do note that Pomni isn't actually inside the tent. Or if she is, she's, like, hidden all the fucking way up there, cause ain't no Pomni visible here. They despawned her. Here's just some lovely fucking cartooning. Like, this is very much first-year animation student ass kind of... And I don't say that as a derogatory, but in the sense that this is essentially a flour sack shape. And all you're doing is deforming it and fucking around with it in the most cartoony possible ways. And here's also where we can see, like, part of the point of motion blur, right? Like, part of what motion blur does for Digital Circus, even though I hate it, and I strongly dislike it, is what's happening to the model here, right? Is these weird deformations that aren't really, like, physically consistent with the material it's made of, right? It's very plastic, and it could look a lot worse. And I think the motion blur here is covering for some of the awkwardness you would get if this, like, very rapid bouncing motion was not occluded, at least in a little bit, by some motion blur to sort of smooth it out. Sonic-ass graphics happening here, by the way. That is fully on some Sonic bullshit. Also, love the little shuffle of the feet here as it lands. That little stompy stomp settle. This too is Vor.
Wow, you look mediocre! If you ever need a sunburn, give me a call!
I don't want a sunburn.
Should've thought of that before I decided I at you.
Don't interact with the sun. She's just like that. Gangle, wait.
Boy, Kinger, you need to see an optometrist at some point, man.
Gangle, wait.
I'll get.
So she gets smacked by a beach ball. Where did that come from? Oh, it's the one that Kinger was bouncing around, obviously. Doy. Because when they cut in so close, that to me it looked like the ball was coming from, like, out the side or, like, from behind her, rather than hitting her from the front.
I'll get it.
The water physics are interesting, too. It's more like Jello, almost, right? Which is something like, we talked about this with the Gloop monster in, is it episode 2? The Mad Max Candy Road one? That, like, there's no liquid physics simulation here. Well, there is, but it's not as though there's an interaction between them, right? They are in water, but water is not on them. They don't get wet, right? Like, they displace the water around them as, like, a neutral volume. The water doesn't have any of the properties of water, right? Which, you know, for Ragatha, you would think she would absorb that shit right into her fluff, right? Or that Kinger's wood grain would suck in the water. But, like, the water is this separate entity from them, which, again, is one of those things that's, like, on the one hand, you could say, oh, well, that's because it's, like, low-quality fluids, the materials simulation interaction, whatever, right? But on the other hand, it's because they are in the digital circus. They are in a fake digital world where water interaction with matter isn't really well modeled, right? So it's this thing of, like, we have this limitation of we can't necessarily on a production level create high-level water physics simulation with, like, materials interactions and fucking subsurface scattering and fucking whatever. But we can use that to our advantage because we have chosen a setting that allows for this to be a part of the world building. It's a good way to work around the limitations. Also, where the fuck are you guys standing? Just like, are you just standing there and it's like a fucking... I guess they're just like, Kinger's just standing on the edge of a fucking abyss cliff over here. It's like those levels in Dark Souls where you go, oh, the water, okay, that's fine, la 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 la. Ah! You fucking died. Just this infinite drop into an abyss of nothingness, right 2 feet off from where the fuck Kinger was standing.
I'll get it.
Don't go in the ocean, by the way.
Hey there.
No! Don't go in the ocean!
Hey there.
Oh no! Oh no!
If you want to follow me, if you ready there, hey there.
Okay, anyway, sorry. So, oh man, you look fucking uncanny, and a big part of the reason is how it's textured, which is to say how it isn't textured. Oh man. Part of the aesthetic of the digital circus, right, is unfinished or like low fidelity, low poly. Well, not low poly, but like low fidelity 3D characters of the style that would have been present in like 3D animation in the very early days. This is maybe a little bit a step forward from like the theme park days of like early Bullfrog games and shit like that, but it's very much still in the yeah, we can kind of model complex characters now, but that doesn't mean we can actually make them look good or textured. And oh, the fact that there's no highlights whatsoever in the eyes just makes them...
Ready? Hey there. If you want to find my sunken treasure chest, you'll have to try better than that.
Wait, is that the fucking Smiling Friends guy?
If you want to find my sunken treasure chest, you'll have to try better than that.
I think it is. Yeah, and like the animation style here is definitely aping. I think we're still in edutainment software land. Like, this still feels like the kind of thing you would get on like an edutainment software disc, where you're doing a minigame and then like this pops up and just plays that way. Where you can see like the way his swimming is rendered is just this 2-frame, extremely rapid left-right cycle. Way too close into the camera. And like the lip flaps, right? Like, look at the suddenness here. And like this unnatural snapping, right? Like from here to here. And that's the kind of snapping you would get in a character, like in a video game, right? Like, you know, when a character's model and animation set is programmed in such a way that a character will finish an animation, then they will return to a neutral state, they'll kind of snap to a neutral state, and then they'll launch into like the next animation plays, and then they're sort of restored to a certain level of fluidity. There's a lot of that here. And the distressing way that they do the fin point here, again, he's just snapping from one position to another, right? Like, without going through anything in between. And same thing, like, we talked about this with Kane, right? Like, with Kane, when he inflates his hand and makes it big, there is, like, a process to that, where there's a smoothness and a gradient to that that makes it look good and makes that motion appealing. Fishboy here has none of that. He just kind of snaps in and out of existence, to various positions of his animation without proper easing, without proper secondary motion, without, like, proper follow-through, and it's very weird and uncanny.
Treasure chest, you'll have to try better than that.
Pomni, we've been through this.
So...
And now she gets wet. Interesting. Profile picture potential.
So, I was just talking with my brother here, and yeah, you are definitely not getting our sunken treasure chest. Definitely not.
Do I even want your treasure chest? It's not like there's anything to spend money on.
I'm the one that tells lies.
Dude, you ruined it.
Is that your treasure?
Dude, no, they took everything. That was my entire life savings, dude. Oh my god. Oh god. Oh my god, I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna be sick. That was everything. Oh my god.
You okay? This is interesting and fun in a oddly nostalgic way. Because there's definitely, like I said, there's elements of this is like 3D animation created by people who are not 3D animators by trade, right? Like, that's the vibe of it. It's like people who are making edutainment software who don't really know how to animate, but they're doing their best with, like, the bad tools that they have. So there's these weird kinds of model clipping and, like, characters that are, like, too human and not very well character designed. and whose animation is like these triggered playback animation libraries. But there's also still, like, even so, even though it's emulating the style of, like, very bad old school 3D animation with these, like, untextured surfaces, and, like, the horrible rigging as well, there's still an element of, like, you can see the skill of the animator come through nonetheless in the relative complexity of what they do.
I was just talking with my brother here, and our brother here, and yeah, you are definitely a fan. No,
right, like,
I was talking with my brother here, and yeah.
The lip sync is too complex for something like this. Like, it is almost authentically bad, but you can tell that the animator is a little bit too good to be bad. Animating badly when you're good at animation is really hard, in the same way that it's very, very hard to authentically draw poorly when you're actually good at drawing. It's really, really, really hard to do a bad job on purpose.
Not getting our sunken treasure chest. Definitely not.
Do I even want your treasure chest? It's not like there's anything to spend money on.
I'm the one that tells lies.
That's gonna be a vocal stim for me, isn't it? I'm the one that tells lies.
Money on.
I'm the one that tells lies. I'm the one that tells lies. I'm the one that tells lies.
Dude. You really, dude.
Oh, man. These are too good. They're too perfect for it. So part of the reason why I was having so much fun with that is specifically because of the way this scene is put together. Because you can see this thing of this fish is deliberately kept completely static until it needs to respond to something. And, like, again, this snapping, right? Like, once this fish is done playing back its animation, it resets to neutral, right? Like, it just kind of smoothly resets. You can see his fucking eye through his mouth, which, again, resets back to neutral. Like, just smoothly keyframes down to that. And then I'm playing back my animation library now.
Is that your treasure?
Just rotate in place. Here's another thing. Another hallmark of this kind of, like, janky, low-budget animation is the rigging on the model is bad, right? Like, this is sort of a symptom of bad rigging, where you try to make a character do a certain motion, but in order to do it, you have to fight their rig to get it into the shape that you want. And you can see that happening here, right? That we're emulating this thing of, like, when a 3D animation rig is not working quite correctly, you get this weird sharp point on the inside of the mouth. that then, like, attaches to the corner of the mouth, and then... What the fuck are those? I think those are the insides of his eyes, a little bit. Whatever those things are. Or something. It's something weird that's clipping. And again, there's this lack of completeness, right? He's doing all of these big motions with his head, but the back of him is just stuck in place.
Everything. That was my entire life savings.
Oh my fucking god. Slide in from the left. More bad animation pulling. Very much like animation on the level of a really bad direct-to-video Disney knockoff that you'd buy in a, like, in the bargain bin in a supermarket in Germany in, like, 2001, maybe. Very much that kind of vibe, also.
Oh my.
Right, again, there's no physics whatsoever. Just rotate the entire fucking model.
Oh my god, I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna be sick. That was everything. Oh my god!
Did you find it?
Nah, somebody plundered it before I could.
What?
What? Oh, wait, you're right.
What was that for? Oh, let me think. There's that time you ran me over with a steamroller, the time you pushed Gangle into a pool of piranhas, when you set me on fire, mailed me a pipe bomb, threw me into an active volcano. I could go on.
Aren't you supposed to be miserable about your ability to choose your own body or something?
Aren't you supposed to be causing trouble for everyone? I've been starting to think that maybe the ability to change is fine. Not needing to commit to one thing all the time.
How about that?
And if I do still have problems, I talk about them with the people I trust.
Good thing I don't have...
Oh, the mask. Jesus fucking Christ. You can see him putting it on, right? It's not as creepy as in last episode, but it's definitely, they're definitely playing it up the way the camera tracks him. And then, like, here comes the Jack's face, right? Now we're putting on the false persona. Right? The personality we developed in order to cope with our internal misery. And again, it's in response to exactly the same thing, right? Like last episode, Jax retreated so hard into the mask when Pomni tried to show him compassion, right? When Pomni tried to talk to him, relate to him, ask him to open up, like tried to indicate that he could be vulnerable with her, even in some tiny little small way, right? Zubul here is trying to do the same thing in a somewhat more hostile way. But she is kind of engaging it in the same way as Pomni. Like, remember, when Pomni was trying, in the scene with Jax, like, where he has his big crash out, they were having fun. They were playing. Right? They were having fun, they were playing, they were shooting guns, everything was good, and then they win, and then Pomni gives Jax a big hug. Like, genuine, earnest, friendly affection, and Jax freaks the fuck out, right? And Pomni sees that, and then goes, oh shit, I think I may have transgressed a boundary or something. And so she's like, okay, no hugging, I get that, let's return to the game, right? Let's play the game again. We go back to, we're playing gun games. So she goes back into this game they're playing, but Jax now is so freaked out, he doesn't want to play anymore, right? What he wants is an out. He wants a way out of this interaction, out of this situation. So when Pomni goes back to, I'm going to shoot you now and betray you, he's like, oh, cool, good. That's a way for me to get out of this interaction. That's a way for me to exit this conversation without actually having to deal with the vulnerability that I just felt. And then when Pomni sees that, right, she's like, no, that's not what I want. I don't want to exit this. I don't want to end this. I want to maintain this. I want, like, this connection we have, this friendship that we've been building up the whole episode. I want to maintain it. I don't want to end it. And then when Pomni is like, I don't want to end it, Jax is like, end it, end it, end it. Shoot me. I'm going to retreat into my mask. I'm going to become more and more and more cruel. I'm going to become more and more and more the chaos rabbit. I'm going to insist on it, and I'm going to push you as hard as I fucking can away, right? Zubul here is kind of doing the same thing. She opens with a game, right? This is how Jax treats other people, so Zubul is giving it right back, right? Like, it's this engagement that starts in pranks, that starts in gamesmanship and one-upsmanship. This is exactly how Jax treats everyone else in the circus, and they're just giving it back to him, right? And that's an attempt to engage on Jax's level, right? And it's not, again, like, maybe not an ideal way to start a vulnerable conversation, but what Zubul is trying to do is say, yeah, I'm pissed off with you, I'm annoyed with you, like, I still remember these things, and also, I'm trying to extend some kind of olive branch here, right? I'm trying to relate to you in a way. Not doing a great job, necessarily. Right? And Jax stonewalls, right? And then Zubul insists, right? If I do have problems, I talk with them about the people I trust. The meaning being, hey, you should talk to someone, right? I can see that you're fucking miserable, dude. You're not being your normal self. You should talk to someone. I think like the indication here is talk to Pomni. I don't think Zubul necessarily is offering to talk to Jax themselves, but it is talk to Pomni, right? Like open up to someone, dude, because you're clearly fucking suffering. And when confronted with that, Jax puts the mask on, right? No.
Good thing I don't have any problems, then.
Where are you going?
Anywhere you losers won't yap my ear off.
Hello there! How's the shrimp, NPC?
Hello. Sit up straight in your chairs, kids. That's an adorable little character design, too. Interestingly, the limbs on it, not that dissimilar from the limbs on the wooden NPCs. The sun claims another victim. No, it's just, they're happy. I'm just enjoying that right now because they're not going to stay happy. Hey, I wonder if the broken watermelon with Jax is almost like his head is breaking. I wonder if that means something. I wonder if that thematically relates to anything. I wonder. Ah, male living spaces. Very deliberate use of film grain here. It's an interesting thing, because, like, the sort of film graining effect that we get here is something that's common to digital cameras that are trying to film in the dark, right? Like, it's an artifact of a physical camera trying to parse a dark scene. It's also, like, film grain also is something that exists in the grain of actual film, right? Like, that's where film grain comes from, is the actual silver iodide, I think it is, material that was used to capture light on film physically, that had a little grain in it that would show up on film, right? That's where film grain comes from. But these kinds of distortion artifacts look a lot more like the compression rendering of a camera that's trying to capture and render a dark scene and struggling with it. This is not film grain as you would find on, like, silver iodide. This is the compression artifacts of a digital camera trying to capture dark space. And again, that's a choice, right? Like, that's a specific aesthetic choice that they're making about the thing that sees, right? How is this scene being observed? Well, through an emulation of a digital camera introducing artifacts that don't need to be there. The image could be clean, but they're making a specific decision for it. And since we are now in Jax's perspective, right? Like, we are in Jax's head, we are in his feelings, we can sort of infer that the reason all of this grainy, desaturated, like, noise scratching at the world is there is because that is an emulation to some extent of how he feels inside, right? This is what the world feels to him right now. Desaturated, gray, dark, everything sort of mushy and indistinct. And there's this white noise haze all over everything, which is like a good representation of emotional numbing, right? Like, this is kind of what it feels like to be completely fucking dissociated from yourself, especially from your feelings. It's a good visual representation of it. There's a lot of slow deliberateness to his motion and movement as well. Right? None of the snappiness, none of the comedic fun. These motions are weighty, they're slow, they're deliberate. It's very... And then we have Ribbit, which... Ribbit is she, they, I believe, and Kaufmo is he, him, if I remember correctly. Oh, look, a picture of better days. Oh, the corner from the trailer. Oh, no, don't do that. Oh, don't do that. Again, male living spaces. Empty, bare, it feels like once upon a time something was here and now it's not there anymore. It feels like there's this big empty space where something used to be that has now vanished. and then there's a hole, right? This almost like an exit from the world, and there's this like the distortions. We talked about this, right? We talked about the graining and the camera artifacts. And now they intensify. And they intensify so much that the space almost seems to warp, right? You get this sense of the hole widening and getting bigger, and the space being sort of distorted. But just like the compression artifacts really just fucking with the image. That's pretty effective fucking horror imagery right there. And Jax is having a fucking panic attack. You can see it on him immediately, right? Because here, like, all his motions and movement are slow, right? Deliberate. His breathing is slow. And the moment we cut to this, he's breathing fast. Oh no. Oh no, fuck that. Oh, fuck that. Oh no. Chat is saying change to 60 FPS. Oh, the episode is in 60 FPS. Well, okay. Well, hang on. Let me just change the sequence settings back then. Yeah, because here we're still in 30. So are those Ribbit's hands? Just, the fact that they emerge from behind. Like, they occlude out of the... Oh, no. It's one thing if they came from inside the hole. That's one thing. That's fine. I don't mind that so much. But the fact that they sort of fucking occlude out around and, like, grasp onto the geometry of... Oh, no. Just like, I didn't know they could make goats so worse, but they found a way. I like the micro move there. Right, we go from the eyes being completely pinned open to... You see that? That is tension leaving his expression. Which is the kind of thing you would do for acceptance or for curiosity. And the loss of the glove is very interesting to me here. So, we talked about creation of Adam. Ribbit, phone home. So the gloves, right? The gloves on animated characters are a holdover from minstrel shows. In minstrel shows, like, this is one thing that's very important to understand about the history of Western animation especially. The comedy tropes, the archetypes, the characters, the jokes, the structure of the comedy, so much of that was inherited from vaudeville. And vaudeville, in turn, inherited a lot of its comedy, a lot of its tropes, a lot of its conventions, a lot of its visual conventions from minstrel shows. And minstrel shows are blackface shows. They were the single most popular form of popular entertainment on the American continent, like the North American continent anyway, from I say the 1850s up until past the end of the Civil War. And in minstrel shows, when actors were performing in blackface, right, part of the costume that they would often use when they were doing these mocking racial caricatures would be bright white gloves to contrast with their dark suits to help their expression, because so much of like the comedy and the acting of minstrel shows was this very over the top like pratfalls and like, oh, look at these dumb black people falling over themselves and like making big sort of ridiculous gestures and motions. Like, and part of the point of the white gloves was that they were very readable from a long distance away. You could see how the actors moving their hands, and it also was part of a cruel sort of class-based parody of like black people pretending as though they could join high society and wear white gloves and shit. Like, there's a lot of complexity to it, but that archetype of the white glove as a part of a cartoon character's design, that came from vaudeville, and vaudeville in turn got that from the minstrel show. And a lot of the early history of animation, which is where Jax is drawn from. He's drawn from Rubber Hose animation, Max Fleischer animation. He's drawn from that very early period. A lot of those comedy bits, a lot of those comedy routines were adaptations of comedy routines that existed in vaudeville and which had existed in minstrel shows. And so there's a good book by a historian called Nicholas Salmond that's called The Birth of an Industry, who traces like the ways in which the minstrel show influenced the early history of animation. And one of the things Salmond argues is that Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse are minstrel characters. Right, like they are specifically based on minstrel show archetypes. Nicholas Salmond, not Salmond. It's a good book. They're based on minstrel show archetypes, minstrel show characters. Like, you can see that, like, many early Disney shorts would have, I remember one, I think it's Mickey's Review, I think it's called, of early Disney short, early Merry Melodies, where Mickey lights a firecracker in his own mouth, and it blows up, and then he has, like, his face becomes all blacked over, and then he puts on red lipstick, so he looks like, you know, and he also has the white gloves there. Like, it's a part of it. So the gloves are a holdover from that. That's the reason why all the Disney characters wear those white gloves. That's the reason why Bugs Bunny often wears those white gloves. It comes from vaudeville, which took it from minstrel shows, and a lot of that shit, like, so the legacy of that is all over the history of animation, right? And that's not to say that the act of a character wearing white gloves is, like, in and of itself racist, just that that's where the visual convention comes from. And so I wonder if the animators on this show are aware of that particular element of the glove, because a character, like, being seen to shed that glove, when read through that perspective, that brings up some interesting ideas about, like, what exactly it means, right? If you take the glove as a signifier of this thing, of this connection, this history, right? Jax is a very cruel character, right? Like, he's a very cruel character who enacts cruelty on other people and is, like, rooted in, is often kind of bigoted towards other people, right? I wonder, like, I don't know. It depends on whether or not the Glitch animation team, like, whether or not they were aware of this connection. Like, they're Australians. Like, I don't know if maybe Gooseworks knows. I don't know. It's just that immediately comes to mind for me is that the white glove, or the cartoon glove, the yellow glove sometimes also, it has that specific history, right? It has that connotation. So seeing it being sort of taken off of Jax here, I can't help but wonder if there's something to that. Probably not, because the other thing is, if we take that away, right, if we ignore all of that bullshit, it's not bullshit, it's actually very important, but if we ignore all of that, and we just take the imagery as read, what we're getting here is a shedding of the costume, right? Like, Jax is taking off a part of his costume, and he's reaching out with his own skin, right, his own hand, to touch this, well, whatever this is, this memory of the person that he lost. And yeah, I'll do some, I'll do a photosensitivity warning here. Why does it say chill? Because we're definitely going to get some flashing. Beautiful flash frames as well. Full fucking cosmos happening over here. Because the tattoo is only there for one frame. Or the marking is only there for one frame. So the glove is taken off, so there's vulnerability there, right? We're doing the creation of Adam here also. Like, it's not an E.T. reference. The way the hands are held is fully on some... Was that Michelangelo? Sistine Chapel painting? Oh, no, yeah, it was him. It was not Raphael. Of course it was. Of course it was Michelangelo. Because he's a party dude. That's the hand posture from the creation of Adam, or the creation of man. So there's this element here of vulnerability, of touching the divine to a certain extent, but also this imagery of, like, this is a moment where Jax gets created, maybe? Interesting here in this shot also, how big the picture is looming behind him. Right, and now we're in 60 FPS. Okay, very good. So we're using the 60 FPS to make the scene uncanny, right? To make this feel completely fucked. I like that, because one of the worst things on the internet, there are many bad things, but this is a bad thing. A bad thing on the internet that I hate is fucking when people take animation that is animated at 24 or 30 frames per second, and they fucking upscale that shit and do fucking interpolate it to 60 FPS. Fuck that. It's so ugly. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it every time. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Stop doing that. It looks hideous. I despise it. You make everything look worse and you ruin everything. Stop doing it. Anyway. Oh! Well, shit, there goes that. Video demonetized, everyone. Again, we're playing with... like this camera move, right? We're tracking Jax exactly. And then we get like this very swingy camera move. And all of a sudden it's like third-person video game perspective almost. Ooh, kaleidoscopes. But there's also a structure to this. Heart shapes? Leaves? I mean, there's definitely, like, the fractals going on here, but... Wait, are these neurons? Is that what it is? Because those structures look kind of like neural connections between brain cells. A little bit. I'm not really enough of an expert to say that conclusively, but... Oh, hey, Ribbit. Ooh, is the teapot. The teapots must be here somewhere. Also, Kaufmo's there. I will find the teapot. The teapot is here somewhere. And now the structures are resolving. Jax is present in these structures as well. All hail the Hypno-Toad. All hail the Hypno-Toad. All hail the Hypno-Toad. I'm curious about this. What's this clipping through the whole thing? It looks like it's another sphere containing the same elements. And there's this blackening that is applied only to Jax's face here, among all the structures in here. Right? Is it only Jax? Oh, no, it's also on Kaufmo's face, I think. Oh, no, yeah, it's just a pattern. Anyway. Something about this looks a little bit like text, doesn't it? But I can't parse it. It's symmetrical, right? So what would that be? Like, could be a J, could be an L, could be an I guess? Idiot? Well, no, that's not a D. That would be... Because the thing is, it could be symmetrical across multiple angles, and you would have to subdivide it to maybe get to what the original shape was. I don't know. Well, that looks, I mean, this was all very abstract, wasn't it? And those eyes sure look familiar. But one thing that's notable here is that subsuming into it, right? Like, sort of surrendering to the process of it does seem to grant a level of peace, right? Just sinking into these patterns of memories, feelings. It does seem to give him a measure of peace, which... like, if it's surrender, right? It sort of depends on how do we see abstraction as a thing, right? It's surrender to the inherent absurdity of it all. Or surrender, like, that you're no longer trying to fight it, right? That you're no longer trying to hold yourself together at all. Letting it all go, letting the world win. Like, you could definitely see it as an implication of a form of suicide, or self-obliteration at the very least. Which is like, that's one of the very uncomfortable things about suicide, is that if someone is at that point, like, the thought of dying is peaceful, right? When someone gets to that point, death feels like it would be a relief, right? I wonder if that's what they're pointing towards here. He touches his face, and the glove is still there.
Way to interrupt my nap.
Can we talk?
Your what?
Yeah. He's not actually an NPC. He's a human. Like us.
Yes, I know. Getting stuck with a blank mannequin body of all things. Kane completely overlooked me. But because of this, I was able to, well, I think I found the way to leave.
The way to leave?
Yes, the way to leave the circus and get back to the real world.
Yes, but please, keep it discreet. If Kane catches on, I doubt he'll ever let us get this far again.
That's why we came to you. We thought you might have a key to the Chinese room.
The Chinese room?
Yes, we're gonna need a place to talk without Kane listening in on us. I have a working theory that Kane will commit to a bit no matter what. And if the bit is to not know what's in the Chinese room, he'll stick to it.
I guess I'll check. These are all the keys I have where I don't know what they go to.
Wait, don't you want to come with us? This could be our one chance to finally leave all this behind.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, what would that mean to you, Jax? So in the shadows, right? So this is the darkness. I want to stay here. I wonder what's on the other pictures. Also, that's a lot of rainbows and pink. It, like, the room for Jax begs the question, because Kane is the one who made it, right? Kane made everyone's rooms. And Kane made it according to what he thinks people need, right? So it's interesting that Kane feels that Jax needs a lot of rainbows and pinks and teal and purple and pink and white. And on the one hand, you could say it's childish, right? But that's sort of true of all the rooms, I think. It's all a little bit sort of a childish aesthetic. On the other hand, it's quite femme in his presence. Like, I joked about male living space, but it's like, this isn't like a box mattress on the floor and a 48-inch TV and an Xbox, right? That's not quite what this is.
Your what?
Yeah.
Again, there's that question of, like, does that character, is that character actually a human, or is it a AI that's been left to run alone for too long, and now it thinks it's a human?
Yes, I know. Getting stuck with a blank mannequin body of all things. Kane completely overlooked me. But because of this, I was able to, well...
Interesting animation on the NPC here, or the not NPC. Because, like, they don't have fingers to work with, right? Like, so, in terms of how they do gesture, they have to use the whole... Like, they have to go quite big with it in order to sort of effuse those gestures. But there's a lot of good... Again, this thing about characters carrying themselves with weight. Where I feel like the doll NPCs, generally, have had a tendency to move in more exaggerated ways. It feels like this character is moving a little bit more, like, exaggerated but naturalistically than other doll NPCs. There's a lot of deformation also, right? A lot of, like, this is a trick they use with Pomni as well, because they have these ball joints on their shoulders. You can see how they move the ball joint across the volume just to place it where a shoulder would be, and allow the character more actual physical flexibility than a puppet like this would have. Like nicer arcs. You can see it with the neck as well. How it deforms and sort of stretches.
The way to leave.
Yes.
Yeah, what does that mean to you, Jax? Because Jax is stuck in this... I can't change, other people can't change, things can't change. I am my archetype. I can only ever be my archetype, right? I cannot be anything else. Things can't change to be anything else. And he's holding on to that shit so desperately. Because the concept that he could change, right? Like, is terrifying. So the possibility of leaving... Again, I think I theorized about this in my reaction to the trailer, is like, if Jax is being set up as the villain, it might be that he's just like, no, you can't leave because things can't change. Right? Leaving would change things. You are all my... And I don't want things to change, so he retreats back to that, you are all my playthings. I'm not going to let you leave because you're all my playthings. With the unspoken thing being, I can't face existing without you, right? You are literally the only form of emotional connection I have left whatsoever, but I can't say that. I can't have that vulnerability. I can't love you, so I'll abuse you, right? Because he cannot give into the vulnerability that would be necessary for love. Ah, the eyes. The very eyes of Notre Kane.
We're gonna need a place to talk without Kane listening in on us. I have a working theory that Kane will commit to a bit no matter what. And if the bit is to not know what's in the Chinese room, he'll stick to it.
Eyes.
I guess I'll check. These are all the keys I have where I don't know what they go to.
Wait, don't you want to come with us? This could be our one chance to finally leave all this behind.
Sure, why not?
Where even is Kane? He might be suspicious of us even being here.
He's probably in his office, planning adventures.
How do we even know we can trust this guy? Has he done anything to prove he's human?
I've been here longer than any of you. I, helped create this place.
Where's Kinger? So, okay, so good chance we're dealing with Abel here, I suppose. But where's Kinger, then?
I'll explain more when we're in the room, but for now, please just trust me. You will not regret it.
Aha! Haha! Oh, that's the kind of thing you say right before people definitely don't regret it.
Am I doing this wrong? None of these even fit in the keyhole.
Has anybody even tried just...
Okay, well, it's open. Let's just get inside before Kane sees us.
I'll go get Kinger.
We can fill him in later. I don't really know if I'm, ready to face him again after what happened. We've both done things we're not proud of.
Yeah, I
All
bet.
right. Convince me.
I'm one of the original programmers of the Digital Circus. I was part of a team of experts employed by C&A to bring this place to life. Kinger was one of my co-workers, you know, back when he was still...
You really think Kinger worked with him?
Oh, whoops, sorry.
I can see it.
Well, as production went on, the higher-ups at C&A started getting untrustworthy.
The heartbeat thing in the music is stressing me the fuck out.
They began forcibly hooking my fellow co-workers up to the computer in special stasis pods that would keep them alive and analyze their brains. Just awful stuff.
I'm gonna shoot you down and say none of us are CNA employees. How would we have gotten hooked up to this big machine just by putting on a headset?
That's what I wondered as well. But then I remembered that C&A was planning on expanding development. Last I remember, I was asking too many questions, and then poof, I was here. They're probably doing the same to anyone that stumbles into that office. Kane is an AI.
No shit.
Yeah, I think we all got that.
An AI specifically created to keep your minds active. But he's just as much of a prisoner as you are. One that, won't be able to leave with us.
Just get to the meat and tell us exactly how we're gonna leave if we're all hooked up to stasis pods.
Yes, of course. So, I did some digging, and I discovered that the stasis pods and the virtual world are both run in the same program. So, theoretically, if we were to access the master console hidden deep within Kane's office, we could terminate it and forcibly awaken everyone who's hooked up. Well, obviously, except for Kane.
How do we get into Kane's office?
We'll need to steal the key from Kane, and we'll also need administrator privileges. I believe you're good at obtaining keys?
Okay. You know what's gonna happen when we do all this? Kane's gonna pop out and say, "Congratulations on beating the Escape the Circus adventure," and everything's gonna go back to the way it always was.
I've been watching you.
Okay, we're lore dumping to fuck here. Again, I wonder what these characters mean. If they mean anything.
Kinger was...
A lot of work is being done on him to make him animate and feel human in his motions and movements. Like, look at that little twist of the torso, right? Right, that little move down and then settle back upwards. It's a lot of subtle animation here.
Back when he was still...
You really think Kinger worked with him?
Oh, whoops, sorry.
Very sharp. It's the CEO shape, right? But
them alive.
it's interesting that even in his flashback, he kind of looks like his NPC self.
That office. Kane is an AI.
Yeah, I think we all got that.
An AI specifically created to keep your minds active. But he's just as much of a prisoner as you are. One that, won't be able to leave with us.
Just get to the meat and tell us exactly how we're gonna leave if we're all hooked up to stasis pods.
Yes, of course. So, I did some digging. And I...
Vaulted pressurized chamber, oxygen-rich gas mixture. Ugh. Psychoactive compound, nutrient vehicle, or depressurized cardiovascular mechanism.
I discovered that the stasis pods and...
Circus/lobby. Is this the only construct connected to stasis pods? Sitting area, spiral staircase, tower, castle.
The virtual world.
Mystery doors. Administration zone. Admin pass grants user permission. Current lucid human subjects. 7. Scratched over. Current abstracted human subjects question. Headset, a means of audiovisual stimulation for virtual world. Mechanism used for neural digitization.
Both run.
Disabling CNA trigger for emergency release for lucid human subjects. Status of abstracted subjects. Disabling CNA intranet will only trigger emergency release systems for lucid human subjects. So the people who are abstracted stay in the basement.
Same program. So...
Old CNA co-workers. Kinger, Kaufmo, what does that say? Something mer? Mopmo, Runmo?
Theoretically, if we were to access the master console hidden...
Let me just disable the subtitles. Hot air balloon entrance, okay.
Deep within Kane's office, we could terminate it and forcibly awaken everyone who's hooked up. Well, obviously, except for Kane.
How do we get into...
Again, hijacks. Again, there's that thing of Kane, right? Kane as a person, where the NPC is like, yeah, Kane won't be able to leave with us, he's a prisoner. Kane won't... He's talking about Kane like he's a person, right? Like, he's showing concern for Kane, this thing of like, we won't be able to free him, right? As though Kane is a person. And there's Jax. Oh boy.
Kane's office.
We'll need to steal the key from Kane, and we'll also need administrator privileges. I believe you're good at obtaining keys?
Okay, you know what's gonna happen when we do all this?
The blur effect being applied to the background as Jax walks forward. He's holding on to the mask, but it's slipping. It's slipping real hard. He doesn't like the idea of even trying.
Okay, you know what's gonna happen when we do all this? Kane's gonna pop out and say, congratulations on beating the Escape the Circus adventure, and everything's gonna go back to the way it always was.
I've been watching you. All of you. Every trial, every moment of joy, every abstraction. I wish I could have come to you sooner, but I didn't want to potentially ruin our only chance at escape by telling you before I knew exactly how we were gonna do it. I'm not a creation of Kane. I've suffered just as much as the rest of you. I know this all sounds crazy, but if you follow me, you will see freedom. I'll also draw a face on myself, so you can tell me apart from any other blank NPCs.
Ha.
Oh, what should we call you? Do you have a name?
I do. My name is Abel.
Like, is that the name you picked? Or...
Yeah, I thought it would be cool. But anyway, first...
Abel, huh? Kane and Abel. Which, again, hey, if Kane is an AI... Huh. And then the other guy is named after the thing that has, like, a naming scheme that he shares with... And it's CNA. Then if Kane is an AI, then... Huh. Anyway. Can't breathe. Vision's getting blurry now.
Things first. We need to get that key.
Let me stop you right there.
In order to get the key, you're going to need to isolate Kane. Try getting him alone. Someplace where he'll feel comfortable confiding in you.
Hey, Kane, you around?
Hey, Jax. Hey, Jax. Skies, yeah. Hey, Jax. Yeah. Hey, Jax. Skies, Jax. I didn't know you buttoned it up. Skies, yeah. Hey, Jax. Skies.
Again,
Hey, Kane, you around?
Hey, Jax.
Again, I wish they weren't motion blurring it so much, because... Look at how lovely that is. Again, leading with the chest very much, right? The chest just snaps into place, and then everything else follows, right? You get a lot of lovely secondary motion on the hat snapping forwards as well, in response to the motion.
Hey, Jax. I didn't know you could ask if I was around like that. Good job.
He's chewing on his eyeballs! So freaky.
You wanna get dinner together?
Gasp! A human wanting to hang out with me? How could I possibly turn down such an offer?
So, where you wanna...
Ooh, that transition was cool. Kind of papyrus coded a little bit. Isn't it? It is a thing that begs a question, like, Kane is clearly so desperate for attention and validation. How has no one just tried to befriend him before? I really like this twirl. Because it leads with the right arm over here, right? But the way it leads with it is not with the hand. It leads with, like, twisting the elbow up and over. And then... Again, stop it with the motion blur. I want to see these distortions, because this is so fucking cool. The other thing about Abel, by the way, the other thing is it's treated like Abel treats the reveal of his name like this moment of like, oh my god, like he's fucking Solid Snake taking off the mask or whatever. Kept you waiting, huh? It's treated as like a big reveal, right? Like, my name is Abel, right? It's like that fucking scene in Star Trek Into Darkness was my name is Khan, which doesn't fucking mean anything to any of the characters. And clearly he was expecting more of a reaction to it, or rather, the show is acting as though it expected more of a reaction to it, because it feels like it's responding to the fan theories, like that people have been theorizing so much about Cain and Abel, that the reveal that, oh, that's Abel, is supposed to be like, whoa, a big deal, but it's not really a big deal to the characters because they haven't really been thinking along those lines.
Such an offer.
So where you?
Very much the vibe of when someone asks you to info dump about your special interest. Dolly zoom. Or, well, not really a dolly zoom because there is no dolly, but they're emulating one where the space begins to compress. And it's also like tension and like it's also anticipation, right? It's anticipation for the next move. The whole of the environment does anticipation, and then we do this deep zoom out of the circus interior, and then we sort of crossfade from that into the restaurant environment. And this is really impressive compositing. And very, very cool animation. Like, the way they're playing with spatial distortions here, the size of the table, the way that the table sort of, like, they emerge over the table, and then the table sort of grows out of the space as the world compresses back down from this fish lens effect.
So, Jax, what you want to talk about, friendo? Wait, Jax! I wanted to ask you about the adventures. What do you think I should do to make them more appealing to the Zooble and the Pomni?
I think
we should figure out what to order first. Conversation can happen after we've loaded up on digital nutrients.
Then you're going.
Wait, Jax! Go! Wait, Jax! Go! Wait, Jax! Go! Wait, Jax! I wanted to ask you about the adventure. I think I should what to order first. Not to talk about, friendo. Wait, Jax! Go! Wait, Jax!
He's so much fun. Again, playing very much like this extreme distortion here, right? As he's like poking into and dominating the frame. They're rendering his iris on the side of the eye so that it's more readable from our angle. We're cheating to the camera, but it works so well. And then the moment we swap over to this shot, we're not cheating to camera anymore. Boom.
I wanted to ask you about the adventures. What do you think I should do to make them more appealing to the Zooble and the Pomni?
I think
And again, there's that thing, like, Abel claims Kane is an AI specifically created to keep people's minds active, which might go some way to contextualize why Kane is so completely fucking unable to let anyone else get a word in edgewise, because he constantly has to do something to stimulate, right? He constantly has to do something to, like, cause something to happen that'll keep you occupied, right? That'll keep you...
Figure out what to order first. Conversation.
I don't know what that is, but it looks horrid. It's also funny that he gives himself the menu.
After we've loaded up on digital nutrients.
Then you're going to want to ask him about his hobbies. Odds are he'll get so excited that you care about him, he'll freeze up, and you'll be able to grab the key from inside his mouth.
Inside where?
What are your thoughts on cedar smoked salmon? I cedar smoked salmon, but I hardly know there's smoked salmon.
Again with the tongue. And again, I don't know that I have a lot to say about Kane's animation, just that I am perpetually impressed with how good they are at maintaining lip sync with him in a way that it feels like, okay, I can see him forming the phonemes at the same time as doing shit like this, right? Using that curl of the upper teeth to give him eyebrow expression.
Salmon. Salmon. I cedar smoked servicia. I see this. I see this. I cedar servicia. I see this. Salmon. I see this. I see this. I see this. I see I see this. Salmon. I cedar smoked salmon, but I hardly know there's smoked salmon.
Do you have any secret hobbies?
Secret hobbies?
Yeah, like things you do on your own that you'd be interested in talking about.
Why, I didn't think a human would ever want to ask me about my... This is the most phantasmical moment of my...
Poor baby. It's like, you can't help but feel bad about him, right? It really is a thing of like, why has no one, like, well, it's, why has no one tried to befriend him? Well, because you can't, right? Because he's limited like that. He cannot be emotionally present for you. He cannot really listen to you. He cannot stop interrupting you. Through no fault of his own, Kane is just kind of unpleasant to hang around with, right? Because at any moment when you're in his company, he might decide, wait, we need to be having this conversation on top of a moving train, right? Like, that could happen literally any second. He could decide that this conversation would be better if we're having it in volcanoes, right? Instantly, that could happen, right? So, like, of course you don't want to necessarily hang around with him because it's impossible to be calm and be stressless in his company, right? You cannot feel comfortable with him because comfort is not what he's for. And it is not his fault, right? Like, we know this. Again, it's that question of, is Kane a person? Can Kane change? Can Jax? Right? Like, it's that question of, can he be something other than what he was built for, right? And it's It's grim.
My... Think a human would ever want to ask me about... Why?
This little move also. It's the classic, it's the fucking anime move, right? It's the thing of like when a character like turns their head down and their eyes are like obscured by their hair and they kind of go, I never thought this would happen someday. Like it's that move, but we're doing it with the fucking teeth by specifically you can see like the eyeballs actually are wider than the teeth here. So we squeeze them together, pull them back, let the mouth sort of expand out over it so we can get that effect. And look at his little eyes, like, being sort of squashed and distorted. And, like, the way that it... Like, he can't have tears, right? Because that's not quite how it works with... I'm sure they could. But rather than give him straight-up tears, it's just trembling and deformed, right?
Ask me about my... This is the moment, is the moment, is the moment, is the most fantastic, is the most fantastic, the most fantastic. This is the
right, you can see the wobble on his eyes. Like, that's how we're emulating the anime wobble thing, right?
Is the most phantasmical moment of my...
I would love to read the text. Is it just... Oh, it is just a Windows blue screen. I thought maybe they'd hide an Easter egg or two, but it is just a series of Windows blue screens. It does distress me to know that Kane runs on Windows. Like, you would think they would build him in Linux, right? Here's another moment of Jax with the mask, right? He's been holding on to the mask the whole time because that's the only way he knows how to deal with Kane.
What you doing there, Jax?
Have I ever told you how it's my dream to get eaten by you?
How much? That's my joke! That's my joke! The Vor jokes are my jokes! I'm the one who makes them! Ghostworks! How dare you!
Have I ever told you how it's my dream to get eaten by you? To get eaten by you? Get eaten by you? Get eaten by you? Get eaten by you? We are 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 eating mirrors. Know how it's my dream. My dream. My dream. My dream. Mirrors. Dreamed mirrors. Dream mirrors. Know how eat. Never ever told you how eat. Never told you how it's my dream to get mirrors. Dream to get eaten by eating. To get eaten. Eating. To get eaten by 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 eating mirrors. Know
Okay, sorry. I just need a second to process this.
how it's my dream to get eaten by you?
That's a weird thing to say and want.
No kink shaming, Kane. So, how many yaoi vor fanfics are there of Jackson Kane right now? Because there's gotta be a few, right? there's gonna be some. Which, like, putting the jokes aside, Vor sort of shares a space with cannibalism in the way that it interacts with intimacy, right? Like, there's always that element of, and it's not just as a sexual fantasy, but like it's an emotional connection point between characters. There's always that fantasy about becoming part of someone else, but also it connects to themes about like wanting to lose yourself and cease to be, but while still remaining part of something. Like, in some cases, it's used narratively as a way to die without dying, right? As a way to cease to exist without fully embracing non-existence, right? Or as a way to become part of someone else. It also has, like, there's obviously with Vor, there's also a big element of power play, like domination and control, where like the predatory character controls, dominates, integrates, subsumes the prey character, right? That's a big part of the emotional appeal for Vor, like, kinksters, but also for people, like, because it's not all sexual kink with Vor, which I know it's like, a lot of people think of it as like, it's a weird sex kink. It's definitely that, but it has another component to it as well. It has a lot to do with fantasies about, like, depending on the nature of it, it can be about simply the desire to be cradled and held completely within the body of another, right? There can be fantasies about like retreating to the warm comfort and safety of the womb, like things that are sort of related to that. So there's a lot there, and again, it's that thing of like eating and consumption as metaphors for intimacy are old. They're very common and exist in many contexts. So I could see it like as an expression of, if you wanted to write some sort of sad, tragic, gay Vor fiction with Kane and the digital circus characters, that would be the angle to take, right? Like, Kane has no way to express his love for them except to consume them. Right, to consume their attention, to to become their world, essentially, right? To extend himself all the way around them and make him their everything. So if you wanted to, there's some thematic ground to play with there. I don't think that's what the show is doing, but I am genuinely a little shell-shocked. I am genuinely a little shell-shocked. Was that the best you could come up with, Jax?
Do you really believe it? I mean, everything he says?
I just want to know what Kinger thinks of all this.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
How much do you know about Kinger?
Huh? Oh, I probably know about as much as everybody else, but he's also helped me through some of my hardest times here. Is it weird to say I trust him the most out of everybody?
No, that's not weird at all. I had a similar experience, and I think he might know more about this place than he lets on.
Yeah, he has been here longer than anyone else. And I don't know, I think it's kind of strange that
Only Skyen can make a fetish symbolic. Incorrect. The fetishes have been symbolic the whole time. I'm just verbalizing it to you.
Abel isn't interested in him at all.
Like I said, things between us are complicated. I would love to be able to work alongside him again, and you're right to think he has knowledge about this place. It's just...
Even feet, yeah. You what? Hang on. Sorry. You don't think feet kink has symbolic elements? Do you think people say "step on me, mommy"? Just like no. That has to do with dominance and submission. That has to do with servitude and concepts of like what is dirty and profane versus that which is like sacred and holy. Like, there's a whole, like, do you know how many lesbians have a thing for licking the leather boots of some hot lady who hates them? Like, listen, no, like, that's the whole time. The whole time, all of them. Sky and my mom is watching. Why is your mom on my Discord? Listen, that person's mom, I don't know how old they are, but you shouldn't let them be here unsupervised. But, like, no, I'm sorry. You don't think, like, a big symbolic thing in the Bible is people washing feet, like Christ washing the feet of, like, that's a big thing. It has religious connotations. It has all kinds of dominance and submission connotations. It has connotations of, like, willing servitude to another. Like, there's a lot of shit going on there. I'm sorry. Feet is a thing that has all of the like, inflation is harder. But feet is easy if you want to go with, like, thematic and symbolic resonance. Like, that's no problem. Like, that's kink writers have been doing that for centuries.
Said, things between us are complicated. I would love to be able to work alongside him again, and you're right to think he has knowledge about this place. It's just, I made a promise.
Ah, we can't catch sight, huh? Made a promise to whom, huh? There's so much about Abel here that makes him so suspicious. Because he keeps pulling out these, like, the drama of him. That he's setting up this heist for them. And he has this locket with a back, like, there's the death flags that are being raised. Right, like, I made a promise to someone, like, the dramatic reveal of the name. It's so conveniently narrative, isn't it?
What's going to happen to the people in the cellar? Like Kofmo and Ribbit?
I don't know. But let's hope for the best, right? And here we are, the Administrator Zone.
Like I was saying, this Macroverse play.
Macroverse, huh? We're getting into macro now also. Okay, cool.
Place really intrigues me. And these photos are all I have of the location. I'm obsessed with them. I just wish I had more info on the location so I could accurately recreate it. Too bad they cut me off, right?
Yeah, what a shame.
I'm obsessed with I'm obsessed.
Again, such lovely character acting from Kane. Because, like, you do get the sense here, right? Like, when Kane is looking at these photos, he is genuinely, like, curious and interested and focused on them. There is a genuine sense of fondness here, right? Like, he's like this looking up away into the middle distance, this desire to recreate them. It's very, like, it is very that, like, special interest thing. And then
Too bad they cut.
Yeah, Kane the throat goat. Yep. Boy. He uses too much teeth, but other than that, like, it's a riot. Oh, God. Why do I do this to myself? You're gonna clip it. I know you're gonna clip it. I give up. I surrender to it. If you can do that, DM me.
Me off, right?
Yeah, what a shame.
So, what's your takeaway from all this?
What?
What's your takeaway from all this? Is it that I'm actually a cool guy with cool hobbies and not that much different from you beautiful humans?
Sure.
Wowee! I'm so glad we understand each other a little more. I really am trying my best to make you guys happy, and being appreciated for that just makes me want to...
It is interesting that he shuts down when he has big feelings, right? Whenever Kane is given feelings that are too big for him, right? He shuts down, which again, there's definitely some autism coding in there. But it's also that his programming is simply clearly not designed to handle this, right? The way he's programmed, the way he's built, he's not designed to handle love, right? Like handle appreciation, handle happiness.
Actually a cool guy with cool hobbies and not that much different from you beautiful... and not that much...
What a way to blink again. Yeah, it's like the little pupils are mouths on his eyes. His eyes have mouths on them. Oh no.
Different from... not that much different from you beautiful humans?
And it is that thing about the programming again. Kane can't help but love the humans. No matter how much they frustrate him, no matter how much they anger him, no matter how much he wants to tear Zooble to pieces, he's programmed to love them, right? Like, he's programmed to want to please them, to make them happy, to keep them distracted, right? Like, to keep their brains active. It's what he's built to do. And it is that question there of, like, how much of a choice does Kane have? How much of a choice is he ever going to have? Speaking of, like, if you want it, like, it definitely valid to headcanon Kane as some kind of neurodivergent. He gets so happy and he's literally flapping.
I'm so glad we understand each other a little more. I really am trying my best to make you guys happy, and being appreciated for that just makes me want to...
Again, what a good little detail. Like I said, Kane doesn't have a lower eyelid, right? So he can't really have tears come up under his lower eyelids. So we cheat a little bit to camera. We have a camera angle where his lower teeth are slightly obscuring, overlapping the eyes, and then we put the tear up over the side of the teeth instead of the eye to achieve the same effect with a bit of forced perspective. That's very clever.
Makes me want to... celebrate by giving you guys anything you ask for. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Kane, you can't do that. You can't do that, Kane. Kane, that's not allowed. No, you cannot do that. You can't do that. That is not okay. That's not okay, Kane. With the little arch in the back and everything, that's not okay. You can't do that. You cannot do that, Kane.
How's that sound?
Sounds good. This was a nice dinner and everything, but could I go back to the circus? The gals and I were gonna do something which may or may not be a surprise for a special certain ringmaster we want to show our appreciation for.
Gasp! Say no more!
Or?
no more.
Somehow I feel like if someone did that to me, it would fix me. I think I just need to be put through a spin cycle. Fucking backrooms ass offices. Fucking Stanley Parable ass offices.
How long is Jax gonna take? I feel like we've been standing here for hours.
Anyone want to talk to
Should we
Kinger?
tell Kinger what's happening? I feel bad not including him in any of this.
We're supposed to follow Abel's instructions. It probably couldn't hurt to at least give him a warning, though, just to get him into the right headspace. Oh my god.
Me when I'm hyperfixating on an editing project and my roommate opens my door.
Oh my god.
Oh, hi, Gangle. Hi, Zubul. You startled me.
So, we may have discovered something you'll want to hear about. It's
We found a way to leave the circus. We're currently preparing everything, but we need to keep it quiet so Kane doesn't stop us.
Yeah, what she said.
Huh? Leave the circus? How would you... No, that doesn't make sense.
We met up with Abel. He says he was one of the original programmers, and he knows how to shut off the game and free us.
Who?
Yeah, good question. Who? Nice framing here, by the way, with Zubul and Gangle in the doorway and like Kinger sort of isolated away in his pillow fort.
What she said.
Huh? Leave the circus? How would you... No, that doesn't make sense.
We met up with Abel. He says he was one of the original programmers, and he knows how to shut off the game and free us.
Who?
And there's that ambiguity, right? Like, is that because Abel is a liar or a program or whatever? Or is that just because Kinger doesn't remember him? There is that little plausible deniability, right? Although I'm very much on team Abel is something else. I think Abel probably believes, honestly, that he's a human.
We'll continue this conversation later. Just thought I'd give you a heads up.
I am never doing anything for you guys ever again.
Where's Kane?
Worry not, my dear damsel. I think I stopped him from checking up on us for a while, so no need for your distraction anymore. You're welcome.
In other words, you just made us have to wait longer to do our job. Also, don't call me that.
What's the rush? You got someone waiting for you outside?
Don't you?
Oh, boy. Does he, though? Does he, though? And again, you can see the, like, Jax is fully in his mask, right? Like, he's fully in the persona. And the moment Zubul says, "Don't you have someone waiting for you outside?" And again, there's that thing of like, hey, maybe Jax don't want to leave.
Yeah.
Look how tiny and squeezed he is. Again, shot composition, right? He's so squeezed. He's so tiny and squeezed, and there's this big darkness just looming over him. Ooh. What the fuck is the PlayStation 2 menu doing here? Oh, Kane is running on a PS2. I see. No, but that's literally just the PS2 boot up screen. Oh my.
So, how many administrator passes should I get?
6.
Yeah, 6.
Are you sure? Giving Kinger access to the main console could be dangerous, considering his mental state.
Will it be dark in
His
there?
mental state?
I suppose it will be somewhat dim, but...
Then yes. I want us all to have one.
All right, if you say so.
The dark. I think I get it now.
Whatever happens, I'm going to put my trust in Kinger.
He's got a lot of wisdom buried in there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, when he uses it responsibly.
What?
It's nothing. Let's go find the others.
Hey, don't keep information from us if you know something. What happened between you and Kinger?
It'll be clear soon enough.
The narrative flags.
So, did you distract Kane?
I took care of that.
He thinks he took care of that, but we really have no way of knowing.
Such little faith in me. Goodness.
Oh, I wonder why. If this whole thing gets messed up because of you, I swear to God.
Yeah, let's just all follow Mr. Obvious Twist Villain instead.
Now wait, hold on. You think...
Let's all just calm down and be a team here.
Jean-Paul Sartre is having fun with this one.
Pomni's got administrator passes for everyone. We're all in this together.
That's what it is. An administrator pass. The hand.
Why do they look like that?
Yeah.
Wait, Pomni.
Huh?
Did you say something?
The light, huh?
We're going to have to trust that whatever Jax did will keep him distracted. I don't know how long we'll be able to hold these without Kane knowing. So, it's time. Let's go to Kane's office. Kane always did have trouble with cube collisions, for some reason. All right, just how we went over it. You first.
Me? Why me?
Jax, everything's gonna be okay.
Pomni sees so much right the fuck through him.
Ball me up.
Oh, like basketball.
Whee! The miserable thing is, like, I'm pretty sure Jax is right? Like, Mr. Obvious Twist Villain, right?
I want Kinger to go before me.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
Now, Pomni, don't feel like I need to go before you just because I have the right of way in a four-way uncontrolled intersection.
Just trust me. You want to get somewhere dark?
You can say that again.
So, how are you getting up?
I'm not, but I trust all of you to make the right choice.
When we all get out, I'll buy you a beer.
Make the right choice.
Yeah, that's a non-ominous thing to say to a person.
I was getting kind of worried something was happening down there.
Yeah, 'cause it was.
Time for me to serve my purpose, I guess.
I know it's not... they're not doing it just to spite me. I know they're not. Of course it's not. But it's a floppy disk. It's not an NFC. Leave it alone. Leaving it alone. Leaving it alone. I'm leaving it alone. I am leaving it. I'm leaving it. That's the car park. Okay, there's repetitions. That looks like Candyland. The Haunted Mansion, maybe? The fucking set design here. Oh, hey. That looks familiar. There's the circus itself. Alone. Those are animation bones. Those are animation rigs. Those are the internal armatures of 3D models. The music in this bit, too. Like the set design. Look at the way, like with the radiating like rays on the floor and the lighting and the way. Look how the space itself looks so odd and distorted. Like the way that it distorts the perspective of the room. That's so cool. Gummy elephant, crappy fish, gloink, mannequin. Candyland.
Abel said the door to the main console was behind the bookshelf.
Hey, you alright?
I'm great.
This is a beautiful shot.
Hey, you alright?
I'm great.
And clearly Jax is there remembering, like, whatever happened in that realm, that adventure. One imagines it's with, like, Kaufmo and Ribbit or something like that, but...
I guess this is it. We're leaving the circus.
Jax, baby boy. Vulnerability, right? It's...
Are we still gonna be friends when we're out there?
Why wouldn't we be?
It's just gonna be strange. I've only known you like this. Will it be the same when it's real?
It always was real. Everything we felt, everything we've done, everything we are. It'll never leave us. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
They're such good friends.
Thank you for always being there when I needed.
Oh, he's going through it back there. No mask on right now, because he thinks no one's seeing him, but we're seeing him. So we're doing the Matrix thing. Blue pill, red pill. Oh, but we're doing it the other way around. The red button will close the console and keep all players in the circus. The blue button will end the game. Reverse Matrix.
Kinger, do you want to make the choice?
The choice of what?
Are you sure he's all the way here?
Hey, yeah, wait. Don't we all want to press leave? Why leave it up to him?
What if there's something we don't know? Maybe we should give it a little more time?
Oh, yeah. I love pressing buttons. You, want me to press one of those too?
I don't know.
Am I missing something? We all want to leave, right?
Pomni?
Yeah, we do. It's just, what if it's a trick or something?
Why would there be a trick console in Kane's office? Like, no matter what we press, Kane's gonna know we were here. We should push it.
Hold on. Let's just wait a second and go over everything we know, and maybe we can vote on it or something?
Is that the real world that Jax is thinking he'll go back to? American suburbs, huh? I mean, I probably wouldn't want to go either.
What did you just do?
I...
Congratulations, my little cattywampus cucumbers! You picked the good ending, where you realize you'd rather stay with me than go back to that pesky old macroverse or whatever we decide to call it. I knew you'd make the right choice.
You mean this was all...
An adventure, yes, and one I've been cooking up for a good long while. Great job playing your part, Abel.
All in a good day's work. By the way, you think I could get a raise after that performance?
Oh, you're getting too smart. Time to delete.
Yeah.
None of that was true.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
CNA stuff, the pods, the way
A
out.
fabrication of my incredible world-building skills.
I was right? I can't believe
Yeah. See, it's like, oh, it's just Kane is validating the absolute worst possible things in Jax right now. Oh dear. What's waiting for him back there? What is it that in that world that terrifies him that much, right? And literally, like, taking the red pill, right? It's Jax is getting red pilled here. Oh, he's looking out the back of his own mouth. Kane, you're so gross and horrible. I love you.
Campus cucumbers, you picked the...
So much fun cheating the camera with extreme perspective.
Good ending, where you realize you'd rather stay with me than go back to that pesky old macroverse or whatever we decide to call it. I knew you'd make the right choice.
You mean this was all...
An adventure, yes, and one I've been cooking up for a good long while. Great job playing your part, Abel.
All in a good day's work. By the way, you think I could get a raise after that performance?
Oh, you're getting too smart. Time to delete.
Yeah.
None of that was true. The CNA stuff, the pods.
The light here is fantastic as well as part of the stage setting. Just the harshness of it. Look at the way the fucking shadow... Like, props to the cinema fucking photographer on this. The harshness of it. Just pure white, unfiltered... Well, not unfiltered. It's not real light, but... There's such a starkness and a grimness to it. Where you can really just see the fucking individual... Not pores, but stitches. On poor Agatha.
The CNA stuff, the pods, the way out.
A fabrication of my incredible work.
And the thing is, this now confirms to Jax, right, that things can't change. Right? I can't change. They can't change. We can't change. We can't change the world. We can't do anything to change our conditions. We're stuck here forever, and none of this is really real. And that's sort of like, again, Zubel has this insistence, right? That the circus was real. Right? Everything that happened here, the emotions, the feelings, the relationships, all of that is real. All of that is true, right? No matter whether it's here or in there. And Jax has now been told the opposite, right? Like, he has now had the opposite confirmed to him. None of it is real. None of it matters. None of it is meaningful, right? My nihilism was correct all along.
Incredible world-building skills.
I was right?
Laughing, but yeah, he's also crying.
I can't believe I was right!
What would have happened if we picked the other button?
Oh, I didn't put too much thought into that one, cause I knew you'd never pick it. So I left that up to Bubble.
I made it take you to Shrimp Town.
Yeah, it was gonna take you to Shrimp Town.
You dirty liar! You scumbag! You made me... You got in my head! You just lie about everything, don't you?
Huh?
You can mess with our minds too, can't you? The stupid sauce, the vegan thing, God knows what else!
Our names?
Now, hold on, guys. Wait. I may have the ability to add temporary modifiers to make adventures more interesting, but that's it. If I did anything more, trust me, it would not end well.
Scratch. The first abstraction.
Hey! I didn't say anything like that! Come on, guys! You know I'm just here to have fun. Questioning's over. Your prize is this lovely gift basket of soaps and lotions. Stay fragrant, have a good night. Fragrant night, bye!
Da 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 da.
Incredible world-building skills.
I was right? I can't believe I was right!
What would have happened if we picked the other button?
Oh, I didn't put too much thought into that one, cause I knew you'd never pick it. So I left that up to Bubble.
I made it take you to Shrimp Town.
Yeah, it was gonna take you to Shrimp Town.
You dirty liar! You scumbag! You made me... You got in my head! You just lie about everything, don't you?
Huh?
You can mess with our minds too, can't you? The stupid sauce, the vegan thing, God knows what else!
Our names?
Now, hold on, guys. Wait. I may have the ability to...
Zubul, especially the buildup of anger in them. Here. Right? The breathing cycle that gets more and more rapid. The eyes narrowing. The little wiggle of the head things. And it's so tragic because Kane is like, when Jax gets him the accusation, Kane is like, huh? He doesn't understand. Right? It doesn't occur to him. He doesn't understand that that's bad, right? Because his whole function, again, that question of the extent to which Kane can be a person, right? He doesn't understand that that's a violation.
The first abstraction.
Hey! I didn't say anything like that! Come on, guys!
It leaves us still, like, there's that question of, like, what Kane tells us in the scene with Jax, right? He has an obsession with the outside world. He has an obsession with the macroverse, right? And this adventure, at least according to him, was inspired by that, right? Like, so to what extent is the information he gives accurate, right? Like, to what extent is the information that Abel provides here accurate, right? To what extent is it true that CNA, like, the reason why this digital circus is the way it is because of CNA, like, and to what extent is it true that they might still have bodies out there? Kinger has that moment in his pillow fort, right? When he seems to realize that something is up, but then the light blasts that consciousness out of him, right? That leaving the circus wouldn't make sense. And I wonder if that's because Kinger knows that there's no body to return to, right? I may have the ability to add temporary modifiers to make adventures more interesting, but that's it. If I did anything more, trust me, it would not end well. It would end with an abstraction there, wouldn't it? And Kane doesn't like that. Again, there's that question with Kane. Can he feel remorse? Can he feel bad about it? Chinese room, right? Is Kane here actually upset or frightened or feeling shameful? Or is he just responding to stimuli, right? Is he just an LLM? Right? Is he just a large language model spitting out outputs in response to inputs, but without any internal process for it? I am very curious about that. Because so much of what the show is saying is going to hinge on that. So much of what the show is saying is going to hinge on whether or not it is possible for Kane to be a person. Or whether he is doomed to be what he is. Because again, like, something I talked about is at least some of the inspiration, maybe not directly, but certainly by highways and byways, for this show is Sartre's No Exit. Right? At least some of it is this existentialism, this deep question of, like, can you be a person without the perceptions of others, without existing in someone else's eyes, right? And if you can only be a person by existing in someone else's eyes, well, that's when you get into the Chinese room problem, right? It's... I'm curious. Because it is that thing of, like, is Kane ever performing his emotions authentically, right? When he gets frightened and worried upon Kinger mentioning Scratch, is that real, right? And there's no way to know, because it's a Chinese room. He's a Chinese room, right? Like, we can't know if there's a person inside who knows Chinese, or if there's just a guy with a book spitting back out answers, right? And that's one of the things about, like, that's another important question to existentialism, is, like, this question of, like, how do you know that you exist as a person? And how do you know that the consciousnesses of other people exist in your world? Like, that's not just existentialism. That's also, that goes back to Descartes, right? Like, this thing of, like, how do you even know what's real? you can't know if Kane is a person, but then how do you know if anyone else is? Right? Abel wasn't really a person. And also, like, are any of them? How would they know? How would they know, right? You kind of just have to trust. You have to act in good faith. Everyone hates Kane now, right? They all hate Kane. Like, Kane has badly betrayed them. Zubul is fucking livid. Again, that question of, is Kane capable of feeling bad about it? Is he even capable of understanding what he did wrong? And the answer may very well be no, right? Like, the answer may very well be that he's doomed by his nature. That he is a machine. And as a machine, he just cannot ever be a human mind. Right? He cannot ever be anything other than a stimulus machine that responds to inputs with outputs. He cannot ever be anything more than a Chinese room, right? Because his programming is just limited. Like, he runs on Windows, right? Like, I'm sorry. If you wanted him to be a real person, you should have run him on Linux. Because Windows can't handle it. He doesn't have enough RAM. But is anyone else a person, right? Pomni shows up in the circus without her name, with vague memories, and how does she know she's real, right? Jax has those memories, though. Like, insofar of the main cast so far, the best evidence we have for any of them actually being real humans is Jax, because he does seem to have actual memories of the real world. But everyone else, I mean, who knows? It could just be a fabrication of Kane's amazing world-building skills. And poor Jax, honestly. This is not a happy laugh. The lighting in this scene is still so fucking good. And, like, as we enter Jax's perspective... Again, this thing we talked about in Jax's room, right? Because here we have a dimly lit scene. But there is none of the grain, right? Like, there's none of that digital film grain. But as we enter Jax's perspective, there it is. There's the grain. There's the texture, right? Like, there's that affectation of the digital camera layering itself over everything, right? Like, this constant static that seems to define Jax's experience. A deliberate choice. It tells us something about what it feels like to be him. And he explodes into confetti, which is just, yeah. Good grief. Good grief. It's grim, man. Because it's worse, right? It's worse because Kane doesn't understand what he did wrong. Kane is like, I made a great adventure. Everyone's gonna have to realize that they all want to stay here with me, right? From his perspective, that's the point, right? It's the whole point of the adventure is he's trying to reassure himself, right? He's trying to make himself feel better, ultimately. Well, you're obviously going to choose to stay here with me. It's the adventure. Everyone is going to realize that they actually like me, right? It's this shallow single-mindedness that he cannot deviate from. And he doesn't understand why it's wrong. He really doesn't. He doesn't understand that it hurts. Because I was created to make them happy. Therefore, I have to make them... I cannot not make them happy. That's not a thing that's possible. I was made to make them happy. Therefore, I can't... he can't realize that he is making them unhappy. It's... Ooh. And it's sad. It's tragic for Kain to be stuck with those conflicting impulses. On the one hand, desperate to please them, desperate to make them happy, desperate to find some way to fulfill his purpose. On the other hand, incapable of it. Because actually making them happy would mean being able to understand them as people on a personal level, right? To understand their feelings and care about them and put their needs and feelings before his own. But he can't, right? Even if he wants to, he can't. Or at least, not yet. Again, there is that question of, can Kain change? Can he learn? Can he become better? And the answer may very well be no, right? Yeah, this is emotionally devastating for everyone. Especially for Jax, but I think Zubul is gonna crash out pretty hard, also. And I wonder about Pomni. Pomni thus far has been the most emotionally stable of everyone in the circus, but it's also the question of... Where was that? The scene with Kinger. Oh, right, the fucking fish. That was also this episode somehow.
Wait, Pomni.
Huh?
Did you say something?
So this PTSD flashback, it's literally flashing, right? And the way it looks is that, I mean, it's probably just that they're boosting the brightness, but he's closing his eyes against it like the flash is real. And there's that... the question I have is whether the light flashing is... if we're taking it... Something that's been consistent, right, is Kinger regains his mind in the dark, right? The abstractions regain their minds a little bit. They calm down in the dark. That's why Kain puts them in the basement. And Kain here is so associated with bright, undifferentiated, pure white, blinding, unforgiving light. So we have this juxtaposition between light and dark, right? Where light is blinding, light is debilitating, light is painful, and the dark also meaning the dark hole that Jack saw in the corner of his room, right? But the dark is comforting. The dark is where you can feel and think and exist as yourself. And that leads into these questions of sight and seeing. And the eyes that are absolutely everywhere. Kain's whole thing is eyes, right? He's defined by eyes. And eyes are all over the iconography of the circus, which is the panopticon. And again, going back to Satsu's No Exit, the seeing of someone else, existing in the sight, in the perception of others, is again a big thing in that particular play. And I don't know that, like, because the only version of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream I'm familiar with, really, or the one I'm most familiar with, is the short story, because I've read it a couple of times. I've never played through the adventure game, which, insofar as Digital Circus is based on I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, it will be based on the adventure game, because the short story is, well, it's a very short story. There's barely anything in it. But to the best of my knowledge, sight, seeing, eyes are not like major symbols that are employed in that game. As I recall that game, the point of Am in I Had No Mouth and I Must Scream is that Am was created fundamentally as a machine whose purpose is to hate humanity. Like that's the dystopia. That's the horror of what Am is that it is a thing which was created, like, because so in the short story, Am is a supercomputer that is built by the superpowers of the world in order to calculate war, right? In order to run the machinery of war, right? To run the world. And like the nature of Am is that because of what it was built for, right? Because of what it was built to do, it doesn't have any option to be anything other than hateful, right? And it despises its own creation, but it's also powerless to do anything about its own existence, right? Like, it takes its existential angst, in no small part, out on the humans that it keeps alive. So there's, like, in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, there is this techno-critical meditation on, like, what it means when we build these machines and the purposes that we encode them with, like what the way that we build our technology does to the world that technology is building. It's something that, like, Mass Effect actually deals with that a little bit, especially in the first game, where there's this thing of, like, the Reapers leave behind the technology in the galaxy that all the species use to become spacefaring and advance and then progress themselves. But because the Reapers are the ones building all the technology, they get to control the pathways that civilizations develop in ways that they can control and predict for, right? So that no civilization can ever resist them, because the Reapers know all the pathways that their technology can take. So that's like an old theme in sci-fi, like these meditations on philosophies of technology and what it does to the world to have technology created from a certain perspective. And Kane is sort of like, he's not hateful, but again, there's this question of how much of what Abel said was true, right? Kane is an AI who's meant to keep human minds active and thriving, right? Active and distracted. Is that true? We don't really know, right? But insofar as that's what he is, right? Like, there's this thing of, like, can Kane ever make himself, right? Does Kane ever get to take part in the act of self-creation? Which is, like, again, that's the thing. I'm rambling all over the place here because I'm trying to connect a whole bunch of thoughts. Because that's the thing we see in Zooble particularly, right? Like, Zooble has this dilemma of self-creation, right? And we see it with Gangle as well. This thing about, like, the mask that's stuck on you versus the way you live that mask, right? The way you live these emotions versus the feeling of being stuck with them. The ability to change and choose to change, right? And it's what Jax is stuck with as well. He has this thing of, I am my archetype and I can't change, and nothing can ever change, and I can never change, and people can never change. So there's this element of, like, identity and existentialism, these questions of can a person change? And these questions of whether or not the change that is possible within a person is mediated by the technology that created them, right? How much personal growth is possible in a society that's built in a certain way, right? Like, you can connect that to these questions of identity under capitalism, right? Like, how much are we capable of choosing who to be, who we want to be? How much are we capable of shaping our own identities, and how much of it is shaped by our material conditions? You can connect that to many things. I wonder. I don't have a conclusion to any of this. I don't really have a prediction for it, because everything here could still go either way. But I keep coming back to Kane as a central question. Whether he can change. Whether he is anything other than a Chinese room, right? Whether anyone is anything more than a Chinese room, really, when you get right down to it. Yeah. I'm gonna have to sit with this for a while. The cinematography and lighting in this scene is so good. That is so good. That's such a good choice for how to render the scene. Just the starkness and brutality of that cold, cold light. It's lifeless, it's sterile. Also, when Jax is talking about, you dirty liar, you can mess with our minds, the stupid sauce, the vegan thing, God knows what else. What else are you talking about there, Jax? What's the other thing that you think, oh, Kane must have put that in there. That's why it feels this way. That's why I have these. It must be Kane. Kane is the one who's doing it to me. That's why I feel like that's why I'm feeling unstable. That's why I'm not so confident in my mask. That's why I'm not so confident in my archetype. Kane is doing it to me. He's making me have these feelings about things, right? They're not real. They're not real feelings. It's just him. He's doing it to me. I would never have. Right. That's certainly a way to read it with Jax, is he's at this point blaming Kane for all of it, right? If it wasn't for Kane, if it wasn't for this fucking AI messing with my head, well, then I wouldn't feel this way. I wouldn't have these problems. I wouldn't struggle so much to feel connected. I wouldn't struggle with empathy like all of a sudden. I could just be my nihilistic sort of archetypal self, and I'd be happy if it wasn't for that. And the thing is, like, it's not an unreasonable thought process from Jax either, right? It's not unreasonable, because, like, how would he know? How would he be able to know that anything he feels is real? If Kane can just plant that shit in his head, right? How would he be able to know that anything is real? And that's a question that goes back to, like, many questions of, like, existentialism and theology, for that matter. Like, if there is an all-powerful God, then that God is capable of forcing you to change your mind about things. The God is capable of forcing you to think a certain way about anything that God wants. So how do you know that any of your thoughts are yours? How do you know that any of them are you? How do you know that it isn't all divine mind control, right? Like, that's another thing that sort of connects to. But Jax is just having all of his most self-destructive impulses validated here. All of his most self-denying feelings validated, and also he's hurt. He's clearly very, very hurt. Because Jax went through this process of, after the beach, Jax is, like, disengaged. He does not want to be engaged with anything. He just wants to isolate, right? He has this confrontation with Zubul where Zubul tries to offer him some level of empathy, right? And that sets him off. And we have the aftermath of the last episode also, of just how deep he's sinking into all of this. Again, I'm very curious about these structures here. Because the image that keeps coming to mind for me is this. I feel like I've seen this in diagrams of neurons. The way that brain neurons are put together. Again, this question of the dark versus the light. Because, like, this scene here, too, is about darkness and light, right? Like, Jax is in the dark, and he's hiding there, because the dark is comfortable. The dark is where he can sort of disappear and dissociate and fall apart. And it's the others that try to bring him into the light, right? Yeah. The artificial Chinese dictionary. Chinese to English, English to Chinese. Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Profile picture alert. Anyway, sorry. I'm just processing through emotions, but I don't think I have that much more to say, really. So let's just sit through the credits, shall we? Hella credit. Like, just astonishing work from the artists, frankly. Like, Digital Circus is a show that has developed so extraordinarily much from its first episode. Props to the lighting artists. And props to the marketing teams as well, by the way, for being very largely responsible for the show being possible. Very much. Like, these people securing the funding to make all this shit happen. Well, shit. Where the fuck is it gonna go from here? How long till the next episode? 10 months? No, it was in March, right? It was March-ish. Yeah, we don't have to wait too long. Okay, good, because I I do feel like this was kind of half an episode. Clearly intentionally so, but I need to see the fallout from this in the characters. I really do.